the Commanders and Colts have made a trade for Carson Wentz. The Commanders will get Carson Wentz. The Colts essentially get a second and a third. The reason why, but their third can change into a second. So they could have 2 seconds for this trade. Carson Wentz did not have a great year. He had a decent year. The concern I have, if I'm him, that offensive line isn't very good. So either you're making big moves for that offensive line, or he's going to just get destroyed through the whole year. The Colts felt they don't have their guys. I was told they were looking at Marcus Mariota, maybe even Gardner Minshew, maybe a drafting of a guy. Who knows? This draft class is very weak, and this free agency for a quarterback is very weak. So who knows what could happen? Maybe even Fitzmagic comes to Indianapolis. But I did hear they are expected to be in the running for Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, if this happens, Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded from San Francisco to Indianapolis, and Trey Lance would be the starter. Now, is that definite? I don't know. Garoppolo played good in the playoffs and played decent enough when he was starting this year. So anything could happen. Former Steelers-Ravens left tackle Alejandro Villanueva has retired after 7 seasons. He has retired. He was in the Army for 4 years, so he's older than what it actually sounds. But yeah, you don't need to do this anymore. I mean, you can still play, don't get me wrong, but you don't need to do this anymore. So I think it was not completely interesting because he was an older player, but you have to be proud of what he did accomplish in the 7 years as a player. The Cardinals have released linebacker Jordan Hicks. An interesting move. He's still a really good player, still quite a bit of a tackling machine. So we just got to see what he has if another team decides to go that direction. The Lions are to release Trey Flowers. A surprising move. Trey Flowers is the only other player besides Harmon to be on the Lions who was a New England Patriot when Matt Patricia came over. So and they're getting rid of him. Could he go back to New England? Could he go to somewhere else? Yes, he could. And he'd probably be a very valuable player. The Titans released Pro Bowler offensive lineman Roger Saffold. An interesting move, but they had to do it. They decided to move forward without Saffold. The Commanders have released Landon Collins over a contract dispute. They could not agree to a short-term contract, or with less money, he was released. The Cowboys and we will talk about the Cowboys in a future video, were searching for trades and are fielding calls for Lyle Collins. We will talk more about the Cowboys in a future video, but this would not save the Cowboys any money, really. This would save them about $1.3 million right now, but there would be a $14 million cap hit after this. So that doesn't save the Cowboys any money. Unless the trade happened around after June 1st, and they designate it as a June 1st trade, or after June 1st trade. If they do that, that saves the Cowboys close to $20 million. Now, the reason the Cowboys are in this situation is whatever they got back for Lyle Collins wouldn't be very high, and they would have a big draft dead cap money they would have to eat up. But if they waited till after June 1st, if they got a draft pick, they couldn't use it until 2023 or later. But they would have money for the foreseeable future. So it's a very interesting situation the Cowboys are in if they do decide to trade Lyle Collins.